Hey everyone, and welcome to another Firms Consulting podcast. If I was you, I'd suit up, sit down, put on a seatbelt, whatever you want to do, because while I like to think all of our podcasts are counterintuitive and helpful, I think this one is even more counterintuitive and helpful than normal, right? So I'm going to shatter some myths here. And I'm specifically focusing on BTO, McKinsey BTO, right? Firms Consulting has I would say, statistically scary percentage of clients who tend to be Indian, around 35-ish, between 30 and 40. They tend to have executive MBAs, part-time MBAs or MBAs. They work in the tech sector and they're looking to move into consulting, right? So it's one of our biggest segments. And I get asked the same question all the time, so I thought I'd put out a podcast about this. The question is, Michael, I don't want to go into BTO because I don't want to be branded as a tech person. I'm fed up with that. Okay, so I'm going to give you the advice I give all of those clients, right? So, the first thing I want you to do is, when you meet someone from McKinsey, when you go onto LinkedIn and you find a profile of someone from McKinsey, here's a question I have for you. How many of those people that you meet in person, or of the people you see on LinkedIn or online, how many of them do you know are from McKinsey BTO versus just McKinsey? Think about that. How many of those people are you aware of worked in McKinsey operations versus McKinsey general role? How many of those people you know worked in McKinsey corporate finance? How many of those you know were McKinsey generalists? The answer to those questions is basically zero. When a McKinsey person goes and joins McKinsey and leaves McKinsey, even before they leave, when they interact with the market, they don't distinguish which part of McKinsey they work in, right? You don't know. When a McKinsey person leaves McKinsey, the market does not distinguish whether you were in BTO, corporate finance, or corporate strategy, or I think I said corporate finance already. Now, I was a corporate finance, corporate strategy person, right? And I go around sometimes with my colleagues from operations. It's not like clients treat me any better because I was in corporate strategy and they specialized in operations. No, the market cannot distinguish. And this is a very important insight for you to remember. If the market cannot distinguish whether you're in BTO, operations, corporate finance, or corporate strategy, that means that the mere fact that you have McKinsey on your resume is going to equate the same amount of value irrespective of which discipline you belong to. Now, of course, this doesn't mean that if you were a dumb person in that discipline, the market will equate the same value to you, but the market does. Think about how many people you've met that have been managed out of Bain and BCG and McKinsey. I'm sure you've met a lot of them like that. Alums who were told to leave because they were not intelligent enough. But you don't know why they left, and you treat them with reverence, right? It's the same thing here. So the first thing I want you to know is the market cannot know if you're in BTO. And if the market even knows you're in BTO, you are making a wild assumption, right? That they know that BTO is different. I don't think BTO is any less important than strategy. People who say that don't know what they're talking about, right? So remember, it's not about what you think. It's about what the market thinks that's going to pay you the salary when you leave, and the market cannot see the difference, right? Basically, the market that hires is a little bit like the market that gives money to companies like Theranos that, apparently have these fabricated results for blood tests. My point is this: first thing I want you to understand is the market cannot distinguish, okay? So know that. If you want to go into BTO and you're going to leave and you're going to be branded as a tech person, you are not going to be branded a tech person because the market cannot distinguish. The second insight is that the skills you will learn in BTO will be the same skills you will learn in operations, strategy, and corporate finance. Of course, corporate finance will teach you something a little bit different, but 95% of what you're going to learn is going to be the same. Period. If you work in BTO, you will learn the same generalist problem-solving skills as strategy and operations and corporate finance. You'll, of course, apply it primarily to a different type of client situation, but the skill will be the same. So rule number 2, if you want to learn all those fancy skills that I apply all the time, the way I communicate, the way I articulate a situation, the way I break it down into structures, the way I apply decision trees and so on, you'll learn it in BTO. Rule number 3, and this is an important one. I am Canadian, for those of you who don't know. We have an icon here. We call him not Justin Bieber, that's a different kind of icon. We call him Wayne Gretzky. Now, Wayne Gretzky is regarded by Canadians as the greatest hockey player of all time, right? And he has a rule called, when people ask him, Wayne, how come you were so successful? Why did you score so many goals for the Edmonton Oilers? And he'd say, well, the rule is simple. I didn't skate to where the puck is. I skated to where the puck will be. So I went to where the puck was going to be, and when the puck arrived there, I was there to collect the puck and score the goal. I didn't do anything. I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. Now, Wayne can teach us a lot. If you look at what's happening with the world today, BTO is going to become more and more important in the future. In fact, I don't like the word BTO because I think it misrepresents the work that technologists do in business. Technology, digital, they're all merging, right? If you want to be a chief marketing officer today for a leading company, you've got to know digital. If you want to be a chief marketing officer in 10 years, you probably need a damn PhD in statistics. Right now, when Firms Consulting does studies for the power company and so on, if you can't program databases, you can't lead our corporate finance streams in our studies. You could have graduated first in your class for your MBA, a Gerald Loeb scholar at, Harvard Business School, first in your class in finance, but if you cannot program a database to do our corporate finance analysis, all our corporate finance analysis in our built-up databases that are using real-time big data, you can't do it. So what I want you to remember is that while you don't want to be associated with technology now, in 10 years, everyone wants to be associated with technology. And you might as well learn those skills now. So think about this. You're going to McKinsey now, you spend 5 to 6 years, and when you come out, another app has found a way for teenage girls to send naked photos of themselves, and they've taken Snapchat out of business, right? There'll be another Facebook. It wouldn't be called Facebook. It'll probably be called, Backbook or something. Technology is going to be big. So if you don't want to be associated with technology, that's like not being given a skill that's going to make you successful in life and throwing it away just because, why would you do that? Right? So first rule, the market cannot distinguish. Second rule, you learn all the skills. And third rule, you have a skill that's going to be enormously in demand in the future. Why in the world would you walk away from it? So if you have a tech-oriented background and you're thinking, if I'm going to BTO, my life is over, I have news for you. Your life is not over. You can learn everything I know. The market's going to reward you greatly today. And in 10 years or 5 years, you can have skills that every organization is going to want. So if you have a background that can put you into BTO and you want to deliberately walk away from that, don't write to me. I don't want to help you destroy your career. And that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed doing the episode. Finally, I want you to remember that the only way to get access to our special offers, the only way to get our special pricing, and the only way to get samples of our content is to join the list on firmsconsulting.com. It's the only way also to get access to our unique advanced content that we make available to insiders. So if you want to get a sneak peek of things, test it out, see what's in there, this is the place to go. And finally, I want to thank you again for making us one of the largest podcast channels around the world for careers and for the 2 million downloads and counting.